The 17th head coach in North Dakota hockey history joining us here on Midco Sports. I'm, of course, talking about Dane Jackson. Congratulations. Thank you for the time. What have the last 2 weeks or so been like for you? It's been kind of a whirlwind, like you said.
Yeah, it's been busy. Obviously, super exciting. You know, my love for the program is deep, and just to be a part of things and, try to get us on track to where we want to be is a big deal. So I'm just kind of looking forward to getting to work and getting our staff going and getting our roster set. But it's been a good process, and just excited for the opportunity. What
does the head coaching title mean to you?
To be honest, if I was really all about being a head coach, I would have left a long time ago. You know, it's more about just being part of the program. I've always felt such a connection, as a player and assistant coach and associate coach. It's just, I coach in pro, and it's I just feel a little more transactional. Like you don't really get to pick your players. You're just kind of there coaching, and you're kind of hired to be fired. Where at a college program, especially this one, we can really affect change by getting the right young men in here. You can be a mentor to those guys and try to help them grow as players and men. Obviously, it's a huge part of the job that I really love. But yeah, so I think it's just the fact that continuation on that I get to be part of it and get to lead these guys is super exciting for me.
Yeah, and you said it, you've had the opportunities. This is also, though, your 20th year with the program. Why is this the step that you wanted to take now in terms of leading this team?
Well, obviously it's an honor to be the head coach, but it's just, I guess you get to try to maybe put your own touch on things a little bit. Obviously past coaches have been unbelievable men, but I'm different than all of them. And, you're definitely going to take things from all of the previous head coaches and talk to them and try to, lean on them for advice on different things. But you got to go with your gut instincts on what you feel is going to be the best thing. I'm very collaborative. I'm going to talk with my staff a lot and kind of chew on things with them and try to hash things out with lots of good communication back and forth. But at the end of the day, the head coach's got to make a decision, and then you got to go to your players and be on the same page. So I look forward to that opportunity.
One of the big keys in your press conference today was talking about the future of this team and how you're going to be shaping it to your terms. Yeah. One of the positions you talked about, though, was a recruiting coordinator and maybe a general manager type role. Yeah. How do you see that coming to life with you in charge?
Yeah, well, that person's going to have to be, very organized and have a great book of knowledge about all the kids across, North America, and I guess some in Europe too. We've always kind of focused on North Americans, but with the CHL opening up, it's a whole new, another 60-some teams that we have to know and be aware of. Our core area has got to be Western Canada. It's always been, the Midwest United States and Western Canada. We have to be great in those areas. We've got to know all the players. And how I see and envision it working is the recruiting director, whoever that is going to know the player pool and kind of guide us towards the players that we want. We're going to have a clear set of saying, hey, we want players with, XYZ as far as the traits they have. And then when we find those guys, then that guy's going to have to say to the rest of our staff, hey, I want you guys to get out and see these guys. Let's all watch them together. Let's kind of go over the pros and cons of what they bring, and if they're meeting that core identity of what UND is all about, the toughness, the competitiveness, the team first play, the kind of love of the program, and the loyal guys, then from there we'll make that decision and try to pick the right person for our program.
Another big story, not just in college hockey, but all of collegiate athletics right now, is the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. I know that's something that you guys have been very busy and involved in. How do you see that kind of taking shape now as we head into this off season? Yeah,
well, I think our core kind of idea is that we want to have players that come in and play 3 or 4 years. We know that's a great way to build culture, build consistency in our roster. But sometimes things happen. Like we had no idea Jackson Blake was going to leave after 2 years. So sometimes the recruits that you have kind of earmarked to come in there might not be ready. So, I think if we have kind of a targeted approach to find, players that are our kind of players, have our mentality, and if we do even go to the portal, I think I'd generally rather not try to have a guy that just comes for 1 year. It might be a guy that's got 2 or 3 years of eligibility, so he's kind of buying in, coming here, and we can kind of mold him a little bit. So, yeah, be targeted about it, but mainly we want to, recruit them, develop them, have them stay around here, get their degree, and be sharp young guys and kind of part of the community here.
I don't want to take away from the players that are on your team, too, specifically Jake Livanovich and Dylan James. Yeah. For those types of players that say, we want to come back to North Dakota next season because you are the head coach, how does that strike you?
It's humbling. It's an honor. Those guys are sharp young guys. Really good players. I think they just see the value, and I don't think it's just me. I think it's the program, it's our staff, it's the other players. I think they see value in the whole culture piece, and they think they're getting better. They know they can grow their game here. They feel that honor to play here, and that's the type of thing you want. You want to instill that kind of pride in the program, and I think that's going to be our number one thing of trying to get guys that have a connection. Like on our national championship team, I think we had about 6 guys that grew up within an hour of our rink. So, you know, those guys were good players, but they had a love of the program, and I think they kind of bred it into others, and that culture piece is a big deal for me.
We mentioned the returning players, the transfer portal, but you also have a large number of incoming players from the freshman class.
Yep.
How do you kind of see next season's roster taking shape?
Yeah, well, we should have some good experience on the D-core. Obviously, we've had some losses up front, but you know, I do think that if you're going to building with a strong veteran D-core is a big deal. I think, yeah, we're gonna play hard. We're gonna play fast. We're gonna have some holes to fill, but I think it is an easier spot to kind of learn on the go at forward than it is at D. D, you're close to your net, and mistakes can cost you pretty quickly. Whereas if some of our young forwards make some mistakes, hopefully they got to go through some layers of defense yet. So if we can get good goaltending and good defense, you know, I believe that we can kind of coach up our forwards and be a real good team next year.
We'll take a step back from some of the serious questions, but I just want to know what excites you most about this next chapter.
Just finding the right staff, finding guys that, you know, have joy, want to come to the rink and be passionate and be collaborative. Same thing with getting guys that are just have a positive attitude and a fire to get better. You know, if we have a staff that's highly motivated and talented, and we have good players that are working and dialed in, we can come a long way. You know, that's something that you know, I really learned from Dave Haxtell. Like, he was all about, you know, we saw his teams consistently get better, and I think that's all about that process base. Like, we have a no excuses process idea, and so if we're always practicing hard, we're always meeting well, and we're going to always play hard, and by the end of every year, we're hoping that because of all those things are in place, just, you know, kind of machine-like, we'll be there at the end every year.
Well, and if there's anything to know about North Dakota hockey and the Ralph and Grand Forks, the fans are passionate, and there is a lot of support behind you. What do you want the fans to know as you take over this program?
Yeah, that we're going to work every day for you. You know, like there could be some ups and downs. I just want them to know the high level of commitment that our staff will have, and that our players will be, you know, playing for the jersey, you know, not for themselves. So, you know, through it all, I get it. We're expected to win with this awesome facility and the resources the university puts into us. But as long as they know that we're all in. We're UND guys. We care, you know, as much or more than anybody. Respect their passion, and you know, they're allowed to cheer, boo, whatever they want. But just that we're going to work and we're going to compete.
Well, Dane, thanks for your time. Congratulations, and we look forward to covering you the next few months.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.